So in the previous discussion or previous class, we ended at a point where we saw that you you have these operators acting on these states. States are basically labeled by the eigenvalues of the number of the operator capital N hat, and then when we operated this state with the operator, I'm not putting hats on top of these operators. You should remember that these are operators, and if I act this state by this operator capital Nk, then let me just quickly work this out once more because we have already worked it out in the previous class. It is simple to do. You just replace the first thing by a commutator. This is a commutator class A N K acting on small nk this state, and then you can from here you know what. So this is AK, and you know what this commutation relation is. Can you tell me what this commutation relation is? N with AK. Remember
Minus of AK.
minus of AK. Actually, in the previous class, we worked out the A dagger case, right? But now we are using the AK thing. So this is minus AK, and so this will give us AK, and this is Nk acting on small nk, this state will give you the eigenvalue Nk. So this is what we have. And now this is equal to Nk minus 1. And so from this simple calculation, by using the commutation relation between Nk and A, we see that if this state is an eigenstate of capital Nk, then this state is also an eigenstate of this operator capital Nk, but with eigenvalue Nk minus 1. And therefore, from here, we can conclude that the state this is nothing but some number, some complex number C of C minus of Nk minus 1. So this state is basically proportional to a state which has the which is labeled by the eigenvalue Nk minus 1. And this is some complex number which you have to determine. If we demand that these states are normalized, these are normalized states, then what we can do is we can write the following, that if I take a dagger of this full equation, then what we shall have is the following. We will have Nk a dagger K, and then we have AK Nk. So we are just taking taking the dagger of this equation and then just multiplying these two things. So if you do that, then this will give us, if you take the dagger of this thing, this will give us mod of C minus Nk whole square, and then we will have Nk minus 1 Nk minus 1. And if we demand that these states are normalized states, then this will be equal to 1. Okay? This is equal to 1, and therefore from this equation you can actually determine the value of this constant. You know that AK dagger AK, this is nothing but the operator capital Nk, and this operating on this will give you the number of, will give you the eigenvalue Nk, right? So we have a left hand side, we get nk, and then nk, this bra with nk ket, that is equal to 1 because the state is normalized, with nk, and that is equal to c minus of nk mod square. So up to some phase, this is basically nothing but this c minus nk is square root of nk. So this is the thing that we get from this calculation. So you can determine the value of this constant. Okay. So c minus nk basically square root of nk, and therefore ak acting on nk is nothing but square root of nk times the ket nk minus 1. And you can do the similar calculation for when you have a dagger on top. You can also determine the value of that constant, which was c plus nk in the case of a dagger, and you can determine the value of that constant also. And please check it. I leave it as an exercise. The value of this constant will be up to a phase. It will be square root of nk plus 1. Okay. So. So we now have the results for the action of AK acting on NK. So if you remember, these relations are very similar to that what we have already encountered in quantum mechanics, or when we did the quantum mechanics of a one-dimensional harmonic oscillator, linear harmonic oscillator. So these relations are quite similar. But I should tell you once again, let us remind ourselves that till now we do not have any interpretation for this operator nk and what this ak and a dagger k are. So we will now start looking at the interpretations of these operators. So for that we need to do a calculation first, and let us do that calculation.
Sir?
Please ask.
Sir, why are you saying that c minus nk is root over nk up to a phase?
Because this is a complex number in general, no?
Yes.
So this is mod square.
Okay. 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 Yeah, I
So
got it.
if you forget about the phase, then there is no problem. Just a
Okay.
minute. I don't have the phone also, because today there is a problem. I'm not able to go to this other part of the board. I don't know why. Anyway, this is not working. So what we have to do is we have to rub it. So if you have taken everything from this board, if you have written it down, so I shall have to remove this part because we are not able to go to that other side of the board now. Anyway, so now what we shall now do is we shall look at the Hamiltonian operator, and this we know, we have already seen that the Hamiltonian operator is nothing but half of pi square plus del I phi square plus m square pi square. This we have already seen in some earlier lecture that you can write, maybe in the previous lecture that we. So we have seen that the Hamiltonian can be written in this form, and also from this form of the Hamiltonian, you can immediately see that the Hamiltonian is positive definite. Now, when we quantize the theory, these pi's are now operators. These are quantum fields, not classical fields, and therefore they have to be elevated to the status of operators. And therefore, this Hamiltonian is now an operator. And what we shall do now is we shall substitute the normal mode expansion for phi and pi in this expression, and then see what the Hamiltonian operator comes out to be. So this is our aim. So let us first calculate the last term. So we want to calculate half So let us forget about the factor of half and n square also for the time being. So what we want to calculate is d cubed x phi square x, where please remember that this phi is now an operator. And we have the mode expansion. We know what the mode expansion for phi is, and we shall do the calculation in the discrete case. I just urge you to do the calculation, to do the analogous calculation. Everything will be same in the continuum case. Please do it yourself. But what we shall do in this derivation or in this computation is use the discrete case. That is, we shall use the mode expansion where we have this box normalization. So we have put the field, quantum field, in a hypothetical box of volume V and impose periodic boundary conditions. So if you do that, d cubed x, so you have phi square x. So for one of the phi's, you have a summation over k. So this k now takes on discrete values because you have imposed periodic boundary conditions in the box of volume V, and you have this factor, and then you have a k into the power of where you have to remember that this 4 momentum k, not all the components of the 4 momentum are independent. The zeroth component, which is energy k0, that is related to the 3 momentum by the standard dispersion relation of special theory of relativity. So you have, this is for one of the phi's, and this is multiplied by another phi, which is, for that we put a dummy k prime for that, and then we have twice omega k prime volume V k prime. So this is what we have. And now our job is simple. There is nothing much here to do. You just need to multiply these two expressions. And if you multiply, you will get summation over k prime. So what I am doing in this step is taking out the summations, just interchanging the order of summation and integration. So you can take it out, and then you will have 2b omega k prime square root. This can also be taken outside the integral because this is independent of x. And then we have the integral x. And then there are just 4 terms, ak prime to the power of minus I. This. So this is the first term, this multiplied by this. And then you have this multiplied by this. So that will give you a dagger a prime ak to the power of I. And then we have this multiplied by this and this multiplied by this, plus ak a dagger prime minus I. This plus this. Then we close the bracket. So we have 4 terms. Is this okay? So we just multiply this out.
Yes, sir.
And you have to be just careful about about the k's and the k primes. And now what we shall do here is we shall carry out the x integral. So if you carry out the x integral, this first term, you can, this is 4 momentum, right? So what you will get is, but this is an integration over the three volume, over x, not the 4 momentum x, rather the three vector x. Okay, not the not x mu. So you have to be careful in this term. What you have to do is you just have to take out the time part, which will be e to the power minus ik omega k plus omega k prime dot multiplied by time t, and then you have the three momentum part, and if you integrate that, from there you will get the Kronecker delta. So if you do that, what we will get here is summation k prime So this is what we get. This is the factor that remains outside, and then this will be multiplied by ak prime, and then you have e to the power minus I omega k plus. I hope you can see this. Okay, or else I can write it below. Just write this below. This will be e to the power of minus I time t. So this gives this factor, and then you have the three momentum part and the three vector part, and that is integrated over the three integrated over the cube takes the spatial volume. And if you do that integration, what you will get, we know the value, the answer for that integral, that will give us a volume factor v times a Kronecker delta k plus k prime comma 0. We know what the value of this integral is. Here also, you will get omega k minus omega k prime dot time t, but from the three volume, the x part of the integral, x vector part of the integral, we will get a Kronecker delta k prime minus k vector comma 0. So it will contribute only when k vector is equal to k prime vector. And if k vector is equal to k prime vector, then omega k and this. Sorry? Sorry?
Sir, delta k plus k prime comma 0, can we also write it as delta k comma minus of k prime?
Absolutely. Definitely.
Okay.
Both are same. Both are same.
Okay, sir. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. And here, so before going to the second term, let me do one more simplification. See, this contributes only when this is equal to this. K prime is minus of k vector. You can also write it like this. Minus k comma k prime. All three are same.
Okay.
So when k prime is equal to minus k vector, so you can actually replace this k prime over here in the omega k plus this factor by a minus k. You can replace the k prime by minus k vector here. Right? Is that okay for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
But omega k is actually equal to omega minus k. So let me write this on top. Omega minus k is equal to omega k. Because omega k is what? Square root of k square plus h square. It is quadratic in k. Therefore, omega minus k is square root of minus k vector whole square plus h square, which is omega k. Therefore, these are equal. Therefore, you can write this as is this okay? You can
Yes.
write 2i omega kt.
Yes.
Now look at the second term. Come to the second term. Here what will happen? We'll have omega k minus omega k prime. But we have a Kronecker delta which says that k prime is equal to k. Therefore, omega k minus omega k prime is basically omega k minus omega k, which is 0. Therefore, e to the power of 0, that is 1. Therefore, this factor will no longer be there for this term. And what we shall have is plus. Also, here also, this is a k prime, but you can replace the k prime by minus k. For the second term, this is a dagger k. I am replacing k prime by k. AK. And then you will have a volume factor delta k. As before, this is the same as k minus k prime comma 0. Look at the third term. Third term is also similar. This factor will go to 1. So we have plus a dagger k. I'm replacing all k primes by k because of the Kronecker delta that will come from the x integration. We'll have a volume factor. We'll have a Kronecker delta. And now look at the last term. What will you have? Plus a dagger k. This k prime will once again be equal to minus k prime because this is k plus k prime. Therefore, this is minus k. Sorry, this is ak. This is a dagger minus k, and this factor will give us a volume times. Then you will have a Kronecker delta k minus k prime, and then you will have an exponential factor as before, and this will be 2i omega k t, and that is all. That is all that you will have from these terms. Okay, so there are 4 terms, and these are the terms. And you can immediately see that these volume factors will cancel out. You can fill one of the summations. One of the summations will go out. And what you will have is the following. Here also you can replace for the terms which have Kronecker delta k minus k prime comma 0, that is k is equal to k prime. You will have omega k. But for the terms for which k prime is minus k, for that also omega minus k is equal to omega k. Therefore, all the terms will give you the same factor, and therefore you can remove one of the summations. You can remove the k prime from here. This will become the same, and therefore we just have twice of omega k. You can now remove the Kronecker delta because you have performed the Kronecker delta. You have performed the summation. You can remove this. You can remove this. You can remove this. So in this step, what we have done is we have performed the Kronecker delta, the sum over the Kronecker delta, and it is therefore gone. Therefore, let me now write down the final expression for this term. So what you get from here is the following: is equal to summation over k and then we have half 1 by 2 omega k ak k minus k exponential this thing plus this term plus So this is the final expression for d cubed x pi square x. You have an n square multiplied by this. So you put an n square on top, and therefore you will just have a n square here. So this is the expression for integral d cubed x n square pi square, and that is equal to this thing. Is this okay? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now let us look at. So you please keep this expression with you because we will need this expression. And now let us look at what pi square is. So what is pi? You know what is pi? Pi is phi dot, right? Is pi of x, the 4 vector. Pi of x is basically phi dot of x, right? And therefore, you also have a Fourier mode expansion or normal mode expansion for phi of x. Because you know the mode expansion for phi of x, just take a time derivative of that and you will get the mode expansion for phi of x. What is phi of x? Phi of x is you have the summation over k 1 by 2 omega k v square root. Then you have a k e to the power of minus I k dot x plus a dagger a e to the power of plus I k dot x. That is what phi dot of x is. Phi of x is. Now you have to take a time derivative of this. So if you take a time derivative, that will give us a factor of minus I omega k. And this will give us a factor of I omega k. This is what pi of x is. It is as simple as that. Just differentiate the mode expansion for phi of x with respect to time t, and that will give us this thing. And now you see you have a factor of omega k and omega k. You take it out. That is a common thing. This will be summation over k, and now this will be omega k. If I take minus outside, minus I outside, so this will give a minus outside the summation omega k by 2v square root. Then we have ak e to the power of minus I k dot x. And since I have taken minus I omega k common, so this will give a minus sign a dagger a e to the power of I k dot x. Okay, is this clear? For pi of x, that is this expression. And what we need to calculate is pi square x. So you just repeat the same calculation that I did for phi dot for pi square x. You have the mode expansion for pi. You square it up, pi square, and then integrate over the spatial volume d cubed x. Okay. If you do that calculation, which I leave it as an exercise for you to perform, then the answer that you will get for this, I'm just quoting the expression. Because this is the same way, the procedure is same, so you can do the calculation yourself now. So if you perform this integral d cubed x pi square x, you will get minus summation over k omega k by 2 a dagger a dagger minus k. That is what we shall have. To the power of 2y omega k p. This is one of the terms that you will get from here, and then you will have ak plus ak a minus k exponential minus 2y omega k p. Please remember that omega minus k is equal to omega k. This follows from the definition of omega k. plus there are two more terms, and the other two terms are minus ak a dagger k and minus a dagger k. So if you calculate d cube x pi square x integrated toward d cube x, this will be the expression for the pi square x d cube x integral term. Okay? And then if you notice carefully, there is one more term in the Hamiltonian operator, and that is the integral over del I phi x whole squared. Okay? For that, what you have to do? You have to calculate what del I phi of x is. And this is also simple to calculate because if you know the mode expansion for phi of x, you know what del I phi of x is. Okay? That is also simple. And then you just need to square it up and integrate over the special volume d cubed x, or integrate over the full volume v of the box. And then if you carry out if you do this calculation, what you will get finally, please do this integral yourself. What you will get is summation over k vector square by twice omega k by twice omega k a dagger k plus a dagger k plus a dagger k g minus k dagger exponential twice I omega k t plus a k a minus k exponential of minus 2I omega k. So if you find out the mode expansion of phi of del I phi of x, square it up and integrate over the spatial volume or the full volume of the box, then this will be the result that you will get at the end of the day. You just proceed in the same way as I have showed you for the first term, n square phi square integrated over the volume v of the box. To do the same, you just proceed in the same way, you will get these results. And now what you have to do to get the Hamiltonian operator, just add these results and divide by a factor of 2. That is what we have to do. So let us do the addition on board. You can see what is going to happen. So this term plus this term, what will you get? You have n square by 2 omega k, and then here, okay, let us just consider this factor in front. So you have this n square by 2 omega k, and here you have k square by 2 omega k, and the rest of it, this is actually a common factor for both these two expressions. The thing in the bracket is the same for these two expressions. And therefore, what will happen is this will give you, when you add this term with this term, phi square with this del I phi whole square, you have k square. 2 omega k is also common in the denominator. So we have k vector square plus m square. But what is k vector square plus m square? It is omega k square. And you have a 2 omega k downstairs. Therefore, this will give us omega k by 2. So when you add these two expressions, everything will remain same. This factor will remain same, the dagger part. What will happen when you add these two expressions? You will get a summation over k, and you get omega k by 2. because n square and k vector square will add up to give us omega k square, and then you have a division by 2 omega k. 1 omega k will get cancelled, and therefore you will have omega k by 2 times this full operator. Whatever you have over here, this full thing. Now this term will be added with this term, with pi square. And let us see what happens now. You have omega k by 2, but with a minus sign. So what will happen is, this term, a dagger dagger, the term containing two daggers, will actually cancel in this term. This term and this term. It will get cancelled. And the term containing two a's, because of this minus sign in front, will get cancelled with this and this. And therefore, the result, the final result that we shall get after these cancellations is a very simple result. We get the Hamiltonian operator will come out to be, remember you have to divide by a factor of 2. So I just keep a factor of 2 outside. And then we have summations over k vector. Then we have omega k by 2. And all these terms, this term and this term will get added with this term, all the other terms. So what we will get finally is the following. We will have twice a dagger k ek plus twice a k etc. That is what we shall have. And now these two factors will get cancelled. And therefore, ultimately, we shall have summations over k omega k by 2 dagger plus so this is the result that we shall get at the end of the calculation, omega k by 2 times this thing. And now we can use the commutation relation between ak and a dagger k. So what we can do is we can replace this ak a dagger k by a commutator. So replace this by a commutator. But then if you replace this by a commutator, then you have to add a term which is a dagger k ak, and write this as in this way. But ek a dagger k, this is actually Kronecker delta k comma k, okay, which is 1 basically. Okay, so this is equal to 1. It is basically the identity operator. So it is equal to 1. It's Kronecker delta k prime, so you will get 1. And these two operators are same, so it will just add up and give you a factor of 2. So you can just write a 2 here, cancel this. And now you can divide by 2 throughout. So this will give you a factor of half. And therefore, ultimately, we have summation over k omega k a dagger k ak plus half. So this is the full expression for the Hamiltonian operator. Is this calculation clear to all of you? Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
So at the end of the day, we get the Hamiltonian operator to be like this. Now you can actually interpret what is a dagger k ak. A dagger k ak is nothing but the operator capital Nk. So this you can actually write it down as summation over k omega k Nk plus half. Now comes the interpretation. What is, so let me write down the final expression for this Hamiltonian operator. Final expression is Hamiltonian A summation over K omega K in A plus half. So let us interpret this result that we have got. What is omega K? Omega K is basically nothing but the energy. It is the energy that you can have when a particle has momentum k vector, has 3 momentum k. Okay? So if the particle has 3 momentum k, then the energy of that particle is omega k, which is given by square root of k vector square plus m square. I'm assuming that the particle has some mass, has some rest mass m. So you can interpret this equation or this result as in the following way. You can say that this nk, so you see that this is for each momentum you have a contribution like this, and then you are integrating over all possible discrete momentum that are possible. The corresponding result in case of, in the other case is also very similar. It's not that difficult. In the continuum case, what you will have is you just replace the summation over k. You remember, I told you that in the continuum case, the summation over k 1 by v gets replaced by integral over d cubed k divided by 2 pi whole cubed. But there is a volume v factor. But the most important thing is that although we have kept the field in a finite box of volume v, you see that volume v factor, the volume factor has cancelled away from the final expression of the Hamiltonian. The volume factor, the v factor is no longer there in your expression for the Hamiltonian operator. It has cancelled away. So you can now forget about the box. Basically, summation over k. Go to the continuum case, the sum over k gets replaced by integral over d cubed k. So that is what we have. So you see that this is a contribution for each momentum k vector, and then you have to sum over all possible k's that you can have. And therefore, this term, this nk, can be interpreted as the number of particles with momentum k. Is the number of particles with momentum k. So if nk is the number of particles with momentum k, multiplied by the energy that each particle can have, that is omega k. Therefore, this is the total energy of this nk number of particles with momentum k. The total energy is omega k into nk, and you obviously have this factor. I will come to this factor later on. So this operator gets the interpretation of a number operator now, nk operator. And what does it do? When it acts on a state, it gives you the number of particles with momentum k. And that is the difference between ordinary single particle quantum mechanics and quantum field theory. In single particle quantum mechanics, we only talk about energies. Remember the harmonic oscillator. We talk about energy states of a single particle. Of a single harmonic oscillator, you talk about energy states, excited energy states, right? So there, n basically tells you in what energy state you are. N is equal to 0 is the ground state, n is equal to 1 is the first excited state, and the creation and annihilation operators, creation operator takes you from one energy state to another energy state. But here the interpretation has completely changed. We interpret this nk as the number operator. So when it acts on some state, it gives you the number of particles with momentum k, multiplied with the energy of each of the particles, which is omega k. That gives you the total energy of the number of particles having momentum k, and then you integrate, you just sum it over all possible momentum values, and that will give you the total energy that that field has, and that will be the Hamiltonian of that quantum field theory. And therefore, this is the Hamiltonian operator with the interpretation that nk, the capital Nk operator, is the number operator, which is the number of which basically measures the number of particles with momentum k. So this gives you the interpretation. We have still not obtained the interpretation for Ak and A dagger k, but we have all the other things that we require for the interpretation of Ak and A dagger k. So let us do it now. So Nk, this basically gives us Nk. So this eigenvalue is basically the number of particles with momentum k. Also, let me just talk about this term. You see, this term was also there in the energy eigenvalues of the harmonic oscillator in quantum mechanics, and this energy and this half, the factor of half, is called the 0-point energy. And this 0-point energy basically it is always there. It is always there, and it owes its origin to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. And you can argue why this must be there. Are you aware about the existence of the 0-point energy from the uncertainty principle? Can you argue it? You know the argument?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is good. So here also you will have an infinite. See, in the case of a single particle harmonic oscillator, you have only this half. It is h bar omega n plus half. So the 0-point energy is h bar omega by 2. But here you have infinitely many oscillators. There are many oscillators with momentum k, and you have all possible values of momentum k. And therefore, this half omega k summed over k will give you an infinite amount of energy. So in the case of field theory, this 0-point energy is an infinite amount of energy that you can have, and therefore it is a divergent quantity. So that is a problem in quantum field theory. You already encounter divergences. This is the first time that you have encountered divergences in physical theory, and this theory and the theory that we are considering now is quantum field theory. So we have a divergent quantity. It's half omega k summed over k, and therefore this will just flow out. The way to control this divergence, or the consequence, this particular divergence has a physical consequence also. The 0-point energy has a physical consequence, and we can discuss it later. But what is important is that you can actually get rid of this 0-point energy. You can just forget about this 0-point energy for the time being by a procedure which is called, by a formal procedure which is called normal ordering. What does it say? It says the following, that if you can consider any state for that matter, you just take Nk, right? Suppose you have a state Nk and you want to measure the energy of that state. Just operate it with this Hamiltonian operator, and you will get something. Just operate this and you will get a result. But what is important is that if it acts on the vacuum, suppose this is the ground state of your quantum field theory. We shall come to the ground state in the next lecture. We have to make a detailed discussion about the ground state of this quantum field theory. But suppose this is the ground state, by definition is the state of minimum energy. Okay. So if this is the ground state and you act it with the Hamiltonian, you can immediately see that AK. Okay, for this I need one more thing. I have to discuss one more thing. But for the time being, you just take it from me that this ground state is such a state, is a state of minimum energy, and it is defined in the following way. It is annihilated by the annihilation operator. If you act with the annihilation operator, till now we have not interpreted these as annihilation and creation operators. So that is why I did not want to tell you about this thing. But anyway, this ground state is such a state, it is a state of minimum energy, such that it is annihilated by this AK operator. So this gives you 0. So if you act it with the Hamiltonian operator, what will happen is this number operator is AK dagger AK. Okay. So this, the first term, by this definition, AK will fill this vacuum and it will give 0. But you will also get a half summation over k, over half omega k summation over k. So that energy will always be there, and that is an infinite amount of energy. That 0-point energy is always there. It is infinite. It is an infinite quantity. But the way to get rid of that infinite amount of quantity, not physically, but just by a formal procedure, is something known as normal order. We call as normal order. And we denote it in this way. This is normal order. This is called normal order. What does it mean? It means that you just throw this term by hand. You just throw that 0 point energy by hand. It basically means is what it means is that you remember the expression for the Hamiltonian operator. The expression for the Hamiltonian operator we had before using the commutation relation was omega k by 2 summation over k omega k by 2 a dagger k plus ak a dagger k. And then we use the commutation relation between a and a dagger k to get a dagger k plus half plus 1. But if we don't do that, if we don't use the commutation relation, we just stay at that point and say that my normal ordering is such, by definition is a formal procedure, which will take all the creation operators to the left of the annihilation operators. So the expression where you have a dagger k, ak plus ak, a dagger k, the ak, a dagger k term, if you normal order, it is by definition a dagger k, ak. AK, A dagger K, normal ordering is by definition A dagger K, AK. So if you just do that, then it is already the Hamiltonian, the normal order form of the Hamiltonian will not contain this 0 point energy. And then you do not encounter this infinity. But this is a formal procedure to get just forget about the infinity used. What it basically means is that you just say that this infinite amount of energy that you really have in a field theory always, you just shift your zero of energy. You say that you forget about this and this is my zero of energy. You forget about the infinite amount of energy that you have. So it is just like the choice of your potential. You can say that the potential of this floor is mgh, where h is the height of this floor from the surface of the earth, that is mgh. And you can say that okay, this potential of the floor is potential energy is not mgh, it is zero. You measure your energy from this floor. So it is something like that, normal ordering. But if you are confused, I hope you have a flavor of what normal ordering is. We will discuss it once more when we tomorrow. And we will, today what we have found is we have found the interpretation of this operator as a number operator. It's a number of particles with momentum k. In the next class, we will find the interpretations of these operators ak and dagger k. And then,
So if we ignore the commutation relation, we are ignoring the commutation relation, that is ak dagger k is identity.
yes,
We are ignoring the basic. I mean, the principle that phi xt and pi xt, this is I del.
it is not a question of ignoring anything. That commutation relation is already there. We are not ignoring anything. What we are saying is that we are using the definition of normal ordering, which basically says that whatever computation relation, whatever operator ordering you have, for example, if you have K, A dagger, K, then it means that the creation operator is on the right hand side of A, of the annihilation operator. Normal ordering tells you that bring that A dagger on the left hand side. And it is completely compatible with the computation relation. That is what you would have got if you had used the computation relation. But the ordering of the operators would be perfect when you use the computation relation. So you are not violating, you are compatible with the computation relation. Only thing that you are not doing is you are not taking the factor of 1 that you would get from the commutator of aka dagger k. You are ignoring that factor. And that factor is actually very important because it is the 0 point energy, which is an infinite amount of energy.
Sir?
Yes.
That AK dagger K, I mean, is there anything by which we can say that AK dagger K just becomes a dagger K AK? I mean, any physical logic behind it? I mean, we are just here doing it to save the 0 point energy.
No, no. AK dagger K, it is, as I said, it is a definition. AK dagger K is what? AK dagger K is A dagger K AK plus 1.
Hmm.
Right? Now
Yes.
you are saying that AK A dagger K normal order. Normal order. Please look at this sign that I have put. These columns on the two sides. by definition is AK A dagger K normal order is A dagger K AK by definition. Okay, so you're just throwing out the factor of 1. You're not taking into account that factor. It is just, as I said, that this is a formal procedure. Okay.
Okay.
So let us
Sir.
end. Well.
Sir, another question. Sir, here we are getting everything very much similar with the simple harmonic oscillator in 1D as we did. Simple harmonic oscillator.
Yes.
Is it just a coincidence, or there is something deeper meaning or physical reason?
Actually, it is not a coincidence. It is what you should expect also, because you see, most of physics is nothing but simple harmonic oscillator. So that is what we see. This is what this is the full what we are discussing so far. It's a free field theory, right? There is no interaction, and in free field theory, it's a quadratic form, right?
Yes, sir.
Quadratic form, you are defining it to you are making normal expression, and then you are looking at the field or Hamilton operator for this field. And it turns out that that field is actually made up of infinitely many simple harmonic oscillators. The result that we have here actually gives an interpretation. We have infinitely many simple harmonic oscillators with number of layers in K. So that is why that already you have a field theory has infinitely many degrees of freedom. For a simple harmonic oscillator in quantum mechanics, one-dimensional simple harmonic oscillator, the number of degrees of freedom was 1. But here you can see that the number of degrees of freedom is infinite. Okay. So let us end the class for today. So we will meet tomorrow at tomorrow we shall meet at 2:15. Okay, is it okay for you?
Okay, sir.
We will meet at 2:15. So thank you very much for today.